Sri for providing this wonderful opportunity on this Pegasus platform. I think, okay. So the title of my abstract is the randomized comparison of proximal and distal radial access for coronary angiography and intervention. As we all know, vascular access is not only important for successful procedure but also to prevent the complication in interventional cardiology. In comparison to femoral access, proximal radial artery access is associated with decreased morbidity because of decreased bleeding as well as decreased mortality as per the result of the Matrix trial. But there are limitations of the proximal radial access. Proximal radial access means we are doing the puncture of the radial artery for the coronary intervention at the wrist joint. So what are the limitations of proximal radial access? There is need to supinate the hand, which may exacerbate the chronic joint pain, which is specifically important in the old age population as we encounter in day-to-day practice in cath lab. The depth of the radial artery in large arms, which could make arterial puncture challenging even under ultrasound guidance, which is not possible round the clock in cath lab. And the risk of the sporadic bleeding in the forearm, obviously, and the risk of the radial artery occlusion, which is very important complication for radial access in intervention cardiology. All of these complications can be overcome by the approach in the distal radial access in anatomical snub box. But the randomized study during the conduction of this study, which was conducted in AGPGI during the tenure of 2017 to 2020, there was a lacking of the randomized study for the comparison between distal radial and proximal radial access for the feasibility and safety and efficacy outcome. So as we all know from the first year of our MBBS, the anatomical snub box can be easily visible by the extending of the thumb. The boundary is formed posteriorly by the tendon of the abductor pollicis longus and anteriorly by the tendon of the abductor pollicis brevis and the abductor pollicis longus and the extensor pollicis brevis. And the floor is formed by the scaphoid and the trapezium bone. And you can see the that red tube, that is the radial artery, which is beautifully crossing the floor of the anatomical snub box. So inclusion criteria were all the patients overcoming in AGPGI for the coronary angiography and intervention who are more than 18 years of the age and who are having definitive palpable radial artery pulse in wrist joint as well as in anatomical snub box. The key exclusion criteria were prior coronary artery bypass patient, patient in cardiogenic shock, unable to measure radial artery diameter because it was very important methodology parameter for all the patients in study participants. Patient of radial artery fistula for hemodialysis, that is seen in the ESRD patient. Prior radial procedure, that is the CAG or PCI patient, and stage renal disease patient, primary PTCA patient, and the barbiturate CND. It is done to assess the dual circulation, efficacy of the dual circulation of the hand. If it is seen to be compromised, then we have excluded the patient. And when operator decided to perform femoral procedure rather than radial. On extreme right panel, you can see the figure of the radial access in anatomical snub box. This green tube is 6 French sheet for the coronary angiography and PTCA. Sample size was calculated based on the previous study parameter. We have included two key parameters, that is the radial artery occlusion after the procedure and the cannulation failure. Based on the previous study, taking account cannulation failure into the primary outcome, we have calculated 148 patients in each group, and when we taken the radial artery occlusion after the procedure as key outcome, we found 155 patients in each group, keeping the 95% confidence interval two-sided and 80% power of the study. The randomization was done by computer-based random table. So primary outcome was cannulation failure. What is the cannulation success? After the successful puncture of the radial artery, the passing of the guide wire, that is mini guide wire, and then the radial sheath, and we measured the arterial access successfully by measuring the pulse waveform out of the monitor. So that was the cannulation success. If it was not done, it is defined as the cannulation failure. Transradial failure was after successful cannulation access. If you were not able to perform the CAG or the PTCA through the same access, then it was defined as the transradial failure. Secondary safety outcome were major and minor complications. Major complications were compartment syndrome, need for vascular surgery, hand dysfunction, nerve palsy, arteriovenous fistula, hematoma requiring blood transfusion, and most importantly, proximal radial artery occlusion, which was defined at the time of the discharge by absence of the palpable radial artery, and it was confirmed on Doppler by absence of the color flow and the pulse wave waveform. Minor complications were radial artery spasm, which was defined by the severe pain during the passage of the catheter or wire, and the need for the additional vasodilator cocktail for the procedure. And the hematoma not required in transfusion or causing compartment syndrome, ecchymosis, local edema, paresthesia, pseudoaneurysm. Secondary efficacy outcome were puncture attempts. In our study as protocol, we have limited the maximum number of the attempt up to 3. Calculation time, that is right from the giving the local anesthesia at the anatomical snub box or the wrist joint up to the successful access. Procedure time, which was including the calculation time as well as Okay. So between 2017 and 2020, we have included 452 participants, and after exclusion criteria, 320 patients were remained, which were randomized in 1:1 fashion in distal and proximal radial access, and after conversion and transradial failure, 153 patients were remaining in the proximal access and 144 patients distal radial access, which were analyzed for the secondary safety and efficacy outcome. Hemostasis protocol was very important for our study for the uniformity of the outcome. In distal radial access, you can see in the left panel, we have achieved the hemostasis applying the pressure bandage over the puncture site in post-CAG patient, and in post-PTCA patient, we have applied the pneumatic cuff, which is giving the mechanical pressure over the puncture sites. So in both the access, post-CAG, we have applied pressure bandage and post-PTCA pneumatic cuff. So there are two bar chart. On left side you can see the comparison of the primary outcome between the proximal and distal axis. The radial convolution failure was significantly more in the distal radial axis group as shown in the orange bar, that is 12 number versus 4, in percentage 7.5 versus 2.5. There was no significant difference in the transradial failure. On right side you can see the comparison between the DRA and PRA for the secondary safety and efficacy outcome. You can see there is no significant difference except the radial artery spasm, which was significantly more in the distal radial axis, and there was no case of the radial artery occlusion and distal radial axis group, and it was found in 8% of the PRA. Among secondary efficacy outcome puncture attempts, cannulation time, procedure duration were significantly more in the distal axis group, and the puncture attempts and the pain score was also more in the DRA group, probably because of the small size of the vessel. And definitely we were new in experience for this newer technique. There was no significant difference in hemostasis time and radiation dose. So we concluded that distal radial artery access is associated with significantly less proximal radial artery occlusion, but more radial artery spasm, pain score, cannulation time and puncture attempts. Distal radial access is feasible and should be encouraged in coronary procedure to decrease proximal radial artery occlusion in comparison to proximal radial access. Thank you very much for patience for listening.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Anurit. I did hear your name that you joined Ivy Hospital. This is the first time we have face-to-face interaction. First of all, congratulations for that.
Thank you, sir.
What made you to think doing DRA rather than PRA? I mean, do you have some more complication, more problems, or there was a sort of a maneuver problems with the PRA?
Definitely, sir. In comparison to femoral artery, radial artery is having small caliber, and definitely we encountered the radial spasm and the sometimes the cannulation failure, specifically in the primary PTC or complicated patient. So we have to shift the patient in femoral access. But important point is the development of proximal radial artery occlusion. Because of that, we have to shift to the femoral access when the patient is coming again for the CAG and PTCA, and sometimes we lose the patient because of that femoral access. So that's very important to prevent the proximal radial artery occlusion.
Can, if you try PRA and if unsuccessful, can you try DRA in that patient?
Yes, sir. In all the patient in DRA, when we are not able to cannulate the patient, obviously we will go for the proximally in the wrist joint. So we can easily access the radial artery. In our study protocol, we shifted the patient from distal to proximal access when we were not able to cannulate. Sir.
That means in your study, from femoral to radial and from radial PRA to DRA now.
Yes, sir.
So that's what you are suggesting now in future.
Yes, sir.
More and more people will be coming, doing DRA rather than PRA.
But sir, learning curve is very fast, and I think we are less experienced. Obviously, we are also less experienced for radial artery. Initially, when radial artery puncture was started, calculation failure was very high, more than 20%, I think. And now it is less than 5%. So with more and more experience, we can decrease these complications like the pain score, puncture attempts, calculation time, spasm. So these are the matter of the experience rather than that methodology.
Because of small caliber, I think occlusion probably is the most important sort of complication of PRA rather than DRA.
Obviously, sir.
Main problem is because we see a lot of patients with the occlusion of this proximal radial artery after the procedure.
Yes, sir.
Good. I think for future, I think probably will go more and more for DRA.
Yes, sir. It was also accepted in European Heart Journal, and it was also presented in Eurovision in Paris, sir, 2022 Congress. Thank you, sir.